Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Let's Have a Pint. Today we have one of my favorite beers from one of my favorite breweries. We have Coffee Bender from Surly Brewing. It is an American brown ale. It is 5.1% alcohol by volume. The description on Untappd reads, "This beer is our regular Bender beer with a cold press coffee brewing process. We steep 20 gallons at a time, so this beer will pop up at tours, beer fests, and special tappings. The coffee is roasted locally at Coffee and Tea Limited in Linden Hills." The reason I love this beer so much is because the sheer amount of coffee in this. This is something I always have in my fridge. When I run out, I grab another 4-pack. There's only one beer that I've had that had more coffee in it that I liked more, and that was the Jitters from Boiler Brewing down in Lincoln, and I cannot wait until that is actually bottled, or preferably canned, and I can actually find it up here. But I can't wait to go down to the brewery, and if they have it, I don't know if they have it now. I don't think they do, but I would definitely get a couple crowlers of that, which kills me because that's 32 ounces, and I don't want 32 ounces at a time, anyways. So here's a look at the can. Coffee Bender Brown Ale with coffee added. Surly Brewing. It's kind of overkill, but I've got my Tiku glass, my Brickway Epic Blackout Stout glass. But at this point, this is really the only glass that I drink this beer out of. I say it's overkill, but it works. You don't want to put just anything in this glass. This is really meant for big beers. But it'll still work for something like this. And we are going to have an amazing amount of head on this. So pouring that up to the top there. We've got about 3 fingers worth of head, which should decrease fairly rapidly. This was actually the first beer I ever had from Surly Brewing. I had it years and years before they ever came to Nebraska. And I loved it then. And I've been really trying to find it to to have it again. But they weren't distributed here. The only place you could get them was in Minnesota. So a couple of years ago, just before they came here, I took a trip up to Minnesota with some people. And while I was up there, I made sure to bring back a 6-pack of this. Or a 4-pack. But anyway, since Surly has come to Nebraska, I have tried their Furious IPA. I've had a lot of this since then. There are still a ton I have to try, but I also tried Bender, which was very good, the regular version of this beer. I've had their Cynic, which, actually, let's go back up here. Furious, I already said, was an IPA. Cynic is a Saison farmhouse ale, and it was a pretty good one. It wasn't a great one, but it was pretty good. And I mentioned in another video I had the Cacao Bender, which was basically just this with a hint of chocolate. And I don't think I've actually had anything else by them, which is a shame. But with that said, there is nothing I've had from them I didn't really like. My least favorite so far was the Furious. which, if we come back up here, the Furious, I still rated that not at all, apparently. Apparently I forgot to do the rating on that one. But if I remember, I think I was going to give it about a 4-star rating. But this is one of the few beers that I give a 5-star rating to. So let's fill this up again. We're already back up on the head. Keep our platform nice there. But there's not much I need to say. You already know by the fact that I've told you that I always like to have this in my fridge. That, excuse me. Can you guys keep it down over here? Alright, sorry, I'm back. Little one here, he likes to torment his sister. And they were making a lot of noise in the background. But anyways, as you guys know, by me saying that I always like to have this on hand in my fridge, that I really like it. I mean, this is dark. It's not quite as dark as like a stout, but it is incredibly close to being that dark. I mean, in the smell, I definitely get that cold pressed coffee. It's definitely not cheap coffee. It's a coffee of quality, and it's not meant to have much more going on, nor does it need anything more going on, to be honest. Don't start making noise. That's really all I get out of that head. Throughout, coffee. Just coffee. I believe this big girl is the only one you haven't really met. This is Luna. She's a little ornery. Earlier she had some food she wasn't supposed to have, and so she didn't feel well. She's fine now, though. She's the one that her brother likes to torture. But yeah, just coffee throughout on this. No bitterness, nothing to it, just coffee. But it is an absolutely incredibly well-made beer. You know, if you're going to make a beer that's a coffee brown ale or a coffee stout, it's always a disappointment to me when it's just got a hint of the coffee or anything. It's not really a coffee beer at that point. If you're going to have a coffee beer, I think you need a lot of coffee. And really the only two examples I can give you offhand are Surly Brewing's Coffee Bender and the Jitters from Boiler out of Lincoln. And I love that this is actually a pint, so we are really actually having a pint right now. But the other two times I've rated this beer, it was 5 stars. And like I said, yes, it is hard to get 5-star rating out of me. To an extent. If you make a beer, though, a top-notch beer with a lot of coffee, a lot of roasted coffee flavor to it, you're going to get a 5-star out of me. If you make a raspberry sour, you're going to probably get a 5-star out of me, or damned close. It doesn't have to be complex in those situations to get a 5-star rating out of me. I can't wait until we get more into like fall and winter and we get these more complex beers that I can actually review for you guys, where it's more than just, light, a little bit of flavor, uh, where you're actually having like an explosion of flavor in your mouth, and uh, it's 5 to 10 different things going on throughout the mouth or throughout the taste. But as always, I'm gonna once again rate this 5 stars. Uh, Once again, another short episode, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Let's see. At this point, I have actually. This will be my 12th recording, and I don't know when this is going to go up. This might be the 3rd video up, or it might be the 20th video up. But as of right now, holy shit. I hope that's on camera. It's behind the record button, I think, though. But, what I like the current format of, just basically having a conversation while talking about a beer as well. Or at least a beer conversation most of the time. These critters will probably be a fair focal point just because there's some bloody many of them around here. I say that, there's 4. But about them, actually, it was funny, before we got the little one over there in the corner, the dynamic in the house wasn't bad. Like, our oldest, she kept to herself, as she still does for the most part. But she usually just lays around and sleeps all day. She'll actually go out of her way and chase him around, and play. The middle two didn't really get along. They never got along from day one. This one tortured the one that was just over here that tried to pelt the shit out of the little one. They did not get along. From the time she was maybe a quarter of that one size, which our oldest one and that one are... Okay, Tiffany is our oldest. Aria is the second oldest. There's minutes between them, or we say, because we got them on the same day. But she's bigger, so we say she's the older one of the two. Anyways, Aria and Luna didn't really get along, and when she was like a quarter of Aria's size, she started basically torturing Aria. Aria is a very gentle cat, and she is literally frightened of everything. Whereas this one, I've only seen a few instances where she's been scared of something. Lawnmowers do it. If she is outside, cars will do it. We've had one bad storm that scared her not too long ago, but before that, storms never really scared her. But anyways, nothing really scares her, for the most part. She would hop on her sister's back and just clamp down, and she thought she was playing. Her sister, it was sad for her, but not that they really get along now, but they don't hiss or anything at each other. They're quiet. They'll walk around each other, no big deal. Once she got older, obviously, she stopped doing that. But Arya's never really forgiven Luna for all that. Which, arguably, you can't really blame her. And this is actually not going to be a short episode, but anyways, it got to a point where Luna, it just seemed like Luna was ostracized by her sisters because Tiffany doesn't play. She doesn't do anything. Arya would try to play with Tiffany. Luna would sometimes try to play with Arya, and actually in a nice way. But Arya doesn't trust Luna anymore. So we'd have two cats that want to play, but not with each other. And then we brought in Artemis. And it seemed like after everybody calmed down from, having a new addition, all of a sudden it seemed like the dynamic was perfect. Like I said, Tiffany will play with him a little bit here and there. Arya's frightened of him. Arya's been frightened of him since he was half the size he currently is. But she's even played with him before. And Luna didn't want to play with him. She took it the hardest. The other two, if it would have just been them, we could have had him out after 2 or 3 nights. But Luna took it very hard because she liked being the baby. And she knew she was no longer the baby. But he started, after she kind of got over it, which took like a week and a half, he started kind of playing with her. And all of a sudden, they're just the best of buds, wrestling around. Now, he's a little too much of that for her. But he's a kid, and he's going to grow out of that. But they're still going to do that. And I can't wait for the day that you'll see Luna and Artemis cuddling. It'll happen. Anyways, non-beer related story over. Damn delicious beer if you can get it, and you like coffee, I would definitely recommend it. If you have never had a coffee beer you like, but you do like coffee, I highly recommend trying this one, which is much more available than the boiler one. But yeah, you might actually like it. Because it is very good, and it actually has coffee taste to it, not just a little hint of it. Like I said, once again, I'll give it 5 stars. Alright. So, not to drone on too long, thank you for joining me. Prost.